Hi everyone, this is Doris with Rich and Love Fashion, and on this week's episode of Dose of Doris, it's time we start asking why 5 times. And here's why. When you ask 5 times in a continuous sequence, you are forcing yourself to get to the root of the problem. And each time you ask why a problem occurred, your answer then becomes the premise of the next question, forcing you to deep dive to the true cause. Now just remember, shit's gonna get real. Like, you're going to get to the deep reason or the why of what is really happening. And that's why I love this technique, because these problems are not going to occur again. So let's go into a business example and I'll show you how this technique works. And I think when you're listening to the questions and the answers going back and forth, it'll really make sense to you. So here we go. Question: why did we go over budget on this project? Answer: it took much longer than we expected to complete. Question: why did it take longer than expected to complete? Answer: we had to redesign several elements of the product. Question: why did we have to redesign elements of the product? Answer: features of the product were just confusing to us. Question: why were the features of the product confusing to us? Answer: we made incorrect assumptions about what the user wanted. Okay, now we're going to number 5. Why did we make incorrect assumptions about what the user wanted? Here is the answer. Our user experience research team didn't ask efficient questions. Now, did you just hear what just happened? From the first question being, why did we go over budget on this project? Instead of pointing fingers and saying, oh, it was this person, it was this person, we kept on going from question, answer, asking why 5 times. And when we got to the 5th why, it wasn't really a problem about time anymore. It was about the user experience team didn't ask the efficient question. So now that was the root of the problem of why this budget went over project. See what I'm talking about? It's so easy for all of us to point the finger, like I talked about in a previous episode. When you point the finger, 4 fingers are always pointing back at you. That's why the why technique is so important, because you're asking why 5 times and you're utilizing what that answer is as your premise of your next question, so you can deep dive into what the real root of the problem is. I'm telling you, I tremendously love this technique, and since I have found it, I have been using it across the board for everything in my personal life. And it tremendously really helps you, again, deep dive into what the real root of the problem is. And remember, the deeper you go, the more truth you will find. I hope this week's episode has helped you, and as always, thank you for watching this week's episode of Dose of Doris. Additional information can always be found by visiting richandlovefashion.com. Please support the channel by sharing, subscribing, and clicking that bell. And until we meet next time, remember to always stay glamorous.